This is Pastor Jeff Chavis. I'm the pastor of Church Online, an online community of faith located at churchonline.com, but we spell that differently. We spell it CHRCH, churchonline.com, because we say all that's missing is you. This morning, I want to talk about the to-do list. Now, let me preface this by telling you I have never really been a scheduler and a planner. But I recognize that the busier I get, and yes, the older I get, the more I need to rely on that to-do list. I don't know if you have a to-do list. My to-do list is right next to me right now. I have a little clipboard right next to me, and it tells me the things that I need to be doing throughout the week. But again, I've never been a scheduler. I've never been a planner like that. And I think about Jesus and I realize that there were things that needed to be done, no question about it. But he always had those moments where people could come. I think of the woman with the issue of blood. I think of the little children who came to Jesus. And he was always this person that just had time for everyone, even though there were things to be done. But there are things in the scripture, not a heavenly to-do list. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing in scripture that you would say is our checklist to make sure we're earning God's favor today. It doesn't work like that. But there are definitely lists of things that need to be done and ways that we need to live our lives. I want to take you to a place in Romans chapter 12. In Romans chapter 12, there's this to-do list of sorts for the Christian life. I'm just going to read through it. And this, by the way, is Romans chapter 12, 10 through 18. A little bit longer than I normally read, but I just want you to listen to it in that context. Like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Again, not that it's a checklist for salvation or a checklist to earn favor with God, but it's just the ways we should live our lives if we're followers of Jesus. It starts out like this. Again, Romans chapter 12, starting verse 10. Love one another deeply as brothers and sisters. Take the lead in honoring one another. Do not lack diligence and zeal. Be fervent in the Spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in affliction. Be persistent in prayer. Share with the saints in their needs. Pursue hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud. Instead, associate with the humble. Do not be wise in your own estimation. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Give careful thought as to what is honorable in everyone's eyes. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Let me pause there. You could hear those phrases, you could hear those things to do, and you could see why I put this in that category of the to-do list. I think the keys are really the first and the last verse, and that's why I started there and ended there. The starting verse is love one another deeply as brothers and sisters. That's really what the early church looked like. When you think of the Apostle Paul writing this letter in the first century to this church in Rome, that's the first thing he wants to see them doing, is to make sure that they're loving each other like brothers and sisters, not like, we love one another in that fake way, but as if we really enjoyed one another's company. We love one another deeply because that's going to color the way that we treat one another if we're treating one another as brothers and sisters. And by the way, when we think about it in terms of the first century, some of the strongest bonds in the first century culture were between brothers and sisters. It was not even as close as the husband and wife bond. Your brothers and sisters were closer to you often because you think marriages were arranged. So maybe you didn't have the same relationship with your husband or your wife, but you definitely did with your brothers and sisters. There were those family ties. Yes, growing up together, so important. But then even as adults, you maintain that. And then I love this line. It's also part of verse 10. Take the lead in honoring one another. I love the way that sounds. That's the way we should be. Take the lead in honoring one another as if we're kind of jumping in front of each other so that we could honor people, whatever that looks like. And by the way, these one another statements so significant and scattered throughout the New Testament. This is what life was like in their group together. Another thing, the verse that we may know so well, rejoice in hope, be patient in affliction, be persistent in prayer. That's verse 12. Those are again, just little moments, little thoughts, little ways, little things to do that allow us to live this life. Rejoice in hope. Now, maybe today you're feeling as if you're in a hopeless kind of situation, or maybe in a situation that just doesn't seem to have hope. But there's always hope in Jesus Christ. It says in Peter, hope is the anchor for our soul. We must have that hope no matter the situation that we're in. And we just need to rejoice in that. Patient in affliction. That sounds counterintuitive. How can I be patient when I'm being afflicted? Recognizing that God is at work doing something maybe we don't even understand. And we just have to be patient in it. And then persistent in prayer. This is why we gather during this time together. It's a time of prayer. And we're going to be praying here in a few moments. But being persistent in it, this is what we do constantly. Something that's so significant. We do it all the time and we never fail to pray. I know we can often get busy and the things on our to-do list may not include prayer, but it definitely should be on there. Prayer should definitely be something that is regularly on our list, and we should just give ourselves to it regularly. This is our communication with our Father, the important part of what we're doing. And you remember I said the first and the last line significant. The last line says, and this is verse 18, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do you get that? That's definitely something that should be on the to-do list. Notice that it starts out by saying, as far as it depends on you, be at peace with everyone. Now we recognize there are times when you just simply can't, because it doesn't depend on you. There's somebody else who is at odds with you. And obviously we can attempt to forgive, we can attempt reconciliation, but there are some people that just won't accept it. So as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. That includes obviously our immediate family, but also our neighbors, co-workers, people in the community. We just need to be the people of peace. Jesus said, blessed are the peacemakers. That's what we need to be about. So many things on the list here. I love pursue hospitality. I love rejoice with those who rejoice, more weep with those who weep. Difficult things to do at times, but important things to do. I gave you the to-do list this morning, again, not with the idea that we need to shift everything that we are about in order to have this list of things we would do to gain favor with God. That would be religion. That would be like what the Pharisees did. But instead, maybe review this. And I would encourage you. There's a lot in Romans 12 in general. Just review that a little bit if you have time. Maybe think of some things. How would that look in my life? How could I take the lead in honoring someone? How could I pursue hospitality? How can I share with the saints who are in need? Maybe there's something on this to-do list that would jump out at you and say, there's something I need to add to my to-do